about that today. The second is because Mayor Lightfoot made a case to the federal government to get us dollars to help invest in our neighborhoods across the city. And for the first time ever in the history of this city, we also floated citywide economic development bonds that are city funds that are making today's announcement possible. So those two things are what we call the Chicago Recovery Plan. So a key part of making the Chicago Recovery Plan a Chicago recovery reality was moving this through the City Council. And the mayor pushed forward this budget at the end of last year, and her budget chair had painstaking effort in order to make sure that this passed the City Council, which it did. So I want to bring up the Alderwoman for this ward and the budget chair who made this happen, Alderwoman Pat Dell.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3rd Ward. Welcome to Bronzeville. We're standing really on sacred ground, as Professor Tim Black would say if he were here. And I wanted to uplift Anthony Overton, who was a pioneer in the Bronzeville community. He was born a slave right after the Civil War, and he was the first African-American businessman in the United States to become what the young people would say large and fat. He grew many businesses in the Bronzeville community, from life insurance to manufacturing to printing. He was a member of the Chicago Urban League, and for those of you out there who are fraternity brothers, he was A Phi A. He was also a member of the YMCA and very active in this community. He had what people call a steely determination. And I just want to congratulate all the finalists today in this program, because you all have what's called a steely determination, and that's what's needed to make community development work. Because we're in the 3rd Ward, I want to uplift Guion Foreman and Joe Bowden, who are taking this building and making it as Commissioner Cox said, a potpourri of different activities. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we also know that they have been instrumental, along with Lefty Boyd, in keeping this building occupied throughout the year for local nonprofit organizations, for artists, for young people looking for a safe haven. And we thank you, Guion and Joe, for your commitment here. I also want to acknowledge another finalist, someone not new to Bronzeville who has invested in this community a long time, Lennox Jackson, who's bringing to us Soul City Kitchen, a shared kitchen facility also needed in this community. Finally, I want to thank Commissioner Maurice Cox and his staff, especially Lisa Washington, for just shepherding this through. Lisa, thank you for all of your work and attention to our community. And Commissioner, I don't know where you are. Commissioner, thank you. But the real hero in this whole deal is our mayor. Our mayor, who had the vision and the foresight to really make investments in our communities on the south and west side. This is the first time, really, Mayor, that you've been able to make dollars available to support community development activities in our community. Usually we have to depend on community development block grants or tax increment financing, but this is really a time when we can take some bond money and make it do what it needs to do in our communities and work for us. So, Mayor, I thank you for your commitment. And without further ado, I introduce you to the Mayor of the City of Chicago, Mayor Laurie Lightfoot.
So good afternoon, everyone. you know, this, events like this, where we get to see hard-earned taxpayer dollars actually go back into the community and uplift the community, help fulfill a vision. These are the best moments that I experience as mayor. There's no question about it. And to see so many people here who really toiled in the vineyard for a long time, who have been working hard to really make positive change in communities, and see you here and the excitement in the room, even though you cut Prince off, which is, I think, a crime. This is incredible. So, Guion and Joe, thank you so much for everything you've done for this space. And folks, if you haven't, just step inside the gymnasium, because one of the things that they are really focused on is making sure that young black kids see themselves in the history of great people who have passed through this city, who are still here working hard. They need to know that history because they should see themselves reflected in it, and then be thinking about how they chart their own path forward and create their own history to be all the great folks that are featured in the murals around this building, and all the positive messages about black excellence that are here. So thank you for executing on that vision. And I got to say, thank you, Pat Dow. I will recognize them. I'm coming. Give me a minute. I want to say thank you especially to Pat Dow, and I definitely will talk about her city council colleagues who are here with us. Even in years of more money than we've ever seen, probably since the WPA, it's not easy getting a budget through. Because when it's tough times and we have a deficit, then we have to figure out how we make cuts and how we make saving to move things forward. When we have more money, as we did last fall, that wasn't easy either. But through thick and thin, Pat Dow is a steady hand on the wheel, making sure that she's listening to her colleagues, that she's doing everything that we can to engage and activate the community, and then working with us to put a budget together that reflects community priorities, not just the mayoral priorities, but community priorities, and continuing to make good on our promise and commitment around equity and inclusion. So, Pat, thank you so much for everything that you do every day. And we do have a number of city council members that are here. David Moore is here. Ariel Roboyos is here. And no, he didn't get lost from the north side. Thank you, Ariel, for being here. And our newest alderperson, Nicole Lee, is here. And I got to give a shout out to Lamont Robinson, who is always a champion state rep, whose district covers this area, cares deeply, and is an incredible advocate. Let me also recognize and thank Commissioner Cox. Being the commissioner of the Department of Planning is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing, I think, particularly now, because we're doing so many things all over our city to make sure that we are bringing to life what equity and inclusion looks like, and literally seeing these developments rise from the surface, reimagining existing hidden jewels and community, but also being present in community. Commissioner Cox and his team have done a yeoman's job in making sure that we are close to community, that we have a pipeline of deals coming that are going to benefit the community, including the downtown, but not just exclusively the downtown. So I want to give a round of applause to the commissioner and his team. I also have to thank Deputy Mayor Samir Mayakar. I mean, this guy's energy is boundless. I mean, he's everywhere. And his team, many of whom are here over to my left, who are doing everything that they can to make the vision of equity and inclusion a reality. So thank you very much, Samir. Thank you to the team for all you do to make sure that we are forging ahead, even with headwinds, that we are bringing it, and we're bringing it home for our communities. So let me just say that you know this. For far too long, many communities in our city have not received the kind of investment that they need to thrive. And I feel like I have this conversation daily. Neglect is not cost-free. If we do not invest in every neighborhood, without regard to race, color, ethnicity, without regard to income, and especially making sure that we are reaching those young people and giving them hope, we will pay. We are paying. We're seeing it now. It's manifesting itself in the amount of policing resources, the amount of violence. It's showing up in hospital emergency rooms, in jails, and unfortunately showing up in a morgue. So I believe that there's a moral imperative for us to right historic wrongs and be present in the lives of our residents in a much deeper and much more profound way. But even if you don't feel that tug of morality, if we're not doing that, you, the taxpayers, are going to pay for it one way or another. So isn't it a smarter bet? Isn't it a smarter bet? And a bigger return on investment to invest in neighborhoods in a positive way and invest in our children in a positive way at the earliest possible stage. That's what this mission is all about. Now, there are some who don't like that, and I'm not going to turn this into a political speech, but the lines are really clear. Do we move forward, or do we return to the status quo that serves some, but left most of us out of the equation? That's really what this is about. And I know, as city leaders, we have the ability and the responsibility to invest in the vibrancy and resiliency of all of our neighborhoods, all of our communities, and the lives of our residents who call it home. And we know how to do that. We've seen that happen when we invest, for example, in the South Loop. We've seen that, what that means when we invest in neighborhoods like the West Loop, or we invest in River North. But how about Inglewood? How about Austin? How about Roseland? How about other places across our city? We can do this if we are intentional and purposeful and make sure that we're bringing the community to the table. Nothing for you without you. That's our mantra. And that's why today I'm excited to announce our first round of Community Development Grant finalists. The $70 million Community Development Grant Program is a part of our Chicago Recovery Plan, which represents the city's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create equity-based investment strategy that will lead to sustainable economic recovery from COVID-19. This historic investment includes $1.89 billion from the American Rescue Plan and over $600 million in local bond funds. And yes, that is our dollars. With these funds, the city, in partnership with community, will be able to create thriving and safe communities, as well as an equitable recovery by making investments in our neighborhoods and communities that have been hardest hit by the pandemic. And look, if we're honest, they've been hardest hit by the lack of investment for way too long, and we are taking steps to right that wrong. The Community Development Grant Program is an important part of this effort. It is centered around our commitment towards strengthening local business corridors and enhancing neighborhood vitality. Run by DPD, our Department of Planning, the program will expand on and enhance economic development programs already in place, like the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, the Small Business Improvement Fund, and TIF financing, all of which have already invested over $350 million in local community development projects during my time as mayor. In addition to expanding funding for these critical projects, the Community Development Grant Program features expanded geographic and business eligibility to meet the needs we know exist across our city. Right now, our city is poised for an incredible economic recovery, having ended 2021 with one of the best economic years on record. In order to keep that momentum going, we must make sure to lift up all of our neighborhoods so that they too can take part in the prosperity that this historic recovery will undoubtedly bring. We are better positioned, I am certain, than any other big city in the country. Lowest unemployment, biggest numbers in economic development, people coming to our city because of the strength of that economy and our workforce. This is a great time to be in Chicago. In its first round of announcements for the program, we're announcing 26 projects total, with more to come at later announcements over the course of the summer and the fall. And let me tell you a little bit about this first cohort. In total, these 26 projects will receive $33.6 million in estimated awards from the Chicago Recovery Plan and from TIF, and leverage over $100 million in private investment. They also represent 19 community areas and 20 wards, and 10 of them are Invest Southwest projects, building upon the momentum of our administration's signature economic development investment plan, which at the 2-year mark was already at $1.4 billion. Importantly, these projects and businesses also demonstrate the rich social and economic diversity of our neighborhoods. We have an apparel manufacturing cooperative that's being funded, community health and wellness providers, a multi-generational family bakery, a shared community kitchen, an immigrant integration and job training center, youth-led produce market focused on West Side food equity, and a brewery relocating from the suburbs to Pilsen, just to name a few. Many of these projects are also reimagining their spaces by rehabbing former school buildings and focusing on sustainable development. As you can see, we have quite the cohort for this first round, and I'm thankful to each and every one of them, as well as everyone who applied for this grant for stepping up to help fulfill a need within their respective community. What this means is that these businesses, these groups, are betting on themselves, their neighborhood, and the city of Chicago, and for that, we should be very grateful. You can clap for that. I'm proud to have each and every one of the finalists on board with the mission of our city, and look forward to watching their projects thrive and catalyze additional growth in their communities. And let me also just say that we're going to be with you every step of the way. We don't give money out and hope for the best. We help you on the front end to make sure you're well situated to apply, and then when you get the money, we're going to be there with you every step of the way on the journey, because your success is a neighborhood success, and a neighborhood success is Chicago's success. So we're there with you. This is a partnership and a collaboration, and I want you to know that. And with that, I'm happy to bring up Commissioner Cox, who will do the big reveal.
Oh, good afternoon. Wow, this is a big crowd. I'm so excited. These are moments like this is what makes the job really worth doing. And so I just want to congratulate you all, and also just congratulate the partners on this journey with us. Alderwoman Dow, a fierce advocate for this work. It's wonderful to be doing this in your ward. Deputy Mayor Mayakar, who is my partner in crime and is just an amazing supporter for this grassroots economic development model. Thank you. And of course, Mayor Lightfoot, who lives and breathes this all day long. We started today in an hour meeting talking about work like this, and so just thank you for, on behalf of everyone, for the vitality that you bring to